I didn't know I was going to be doing this in here. I thought I had like a little workshop room, so this is going to be fun. Um, I did a more in-depth Lightning workshop in at BitBlock Boom, where I went into check lock time verify and the explicits of the contract, and that took about 2 hours, and we didn't quite finish. So I decided for this one I wanted to do something a little bit more abstract, just so you can kind of get the idea of Lightning, and then hopefully anybody on the live stream may not be able to see it, but I actually want to use it for a few things, just so that people can see, use some of the apps, some of the stuff that I do, because I use Lightning essentially every day. Probably 2 or 3 apps like that I use predominantly, and you can actually live with Lightning and Bitcoin pretty easily. Like, as long as you know like a couple of the main wallets and services that are actually useful, that kind of bridge you gaps. I use a lot of gift cards, but as long as you know those services, you can do it. It's pretty widely available. So this is going to be our brief walkthrough through the Lightning Network, and then I'm going to go over some apps and some fun stuff, some shit, and maybe a couple of y'all will get some sats. If anybody's got who has a Lightning wallet, by the way, already? Okay, good. Do what? We will get to that in just a moment. That is depending on your situation and how you intend to use it. So, just conceptually, what is the Lightning Network? This is a layer on top of Bitcoin. This is something you can do with a Bitcoin transaction and its instructions that is more than simply, this used to belong to me, now it belongs to you, which is a default transaction. That's what a normal transaction is. This is essentially a transaction that you set up an arrangement and it stays active, and you keep updating it with the person that you have created this Lightning connection with, and by doing so, it's referred to as a channel. I'm sure everybody knows that, but it allows you to continuously update who owns what between the two of you without actually having to go back to Bitcoin. So it is a pretty incredible scaling technology from that perspective, is that you can do lots and lots and lots. You can do essentially an unlimited number of payments within that channel, and you don't even really have to go back to the Bitcoin chain if you don't want to. So much like that, I actually go back and forth between where Lightning is in the stack here. I am on my second frame, and the first one is still up there. This is what you're supposed to see. Hopefully it doesn't switch again. Okay. All right, so I kind of go back and forth between where this is in the stack, because the Ethernet protocol is kind of the broadcast layer of the internet. When the first internet nodes came online with the universities and everybody that were experimenting with it back in the late 70s, early 80s, it was a broadcast network, which means that if you sent a packet of information, you broadcast it to everybody. This is kind of like your home router or whatever. Like, all of the packets are sent to everyone. Obviously, that did not scale very well, right? That was a terrible model if you have 1 million different computers. I mean, imagine if your mobile phone had to receive every text message on the internet, but reject all of the ones that weren't for it, so that it could find out which text messages were sent to you specifically. That is essentially what Ethernet does. That's what the base layer of the internet does. TCP/IP is the routing layer. It allows you to make these connections, and rather than blasting out the information to everybody and hoping it reaches the person that it's intended for, you specifically have routes. You have an address with details about where your region is and where your local hub is, and then where you are. That's the 10.172.184. It's literally like an address. It's like country, region, city, street. Except obviously it's for servers, not geographic location. So that's TCP/IP. That is analogous to, you notice on Bitcoin, you send a transaction, you send it to every node in the world. You broadcast it to everybody, and everybody downloads it, stores it in their blockchain. just so that they can make sure they get the one that's for them, that's for your address. Lightning is the routing protocol. It's the one that allows you to establish transactions, establish channels with other people on the network, and rather than going specifically to the person or broadcasting out to everyone, you can actually hop through these network connections. The beauty of Lightning is that you can attach let's say we've set up channels, like it is a network of channels. So if I've got a channel with him right here and he's got a channel with that guy, obviously I can update our channel endlessly, but I can also actually lock a payment to him with this guy's hash, with a secret that only this guy knows. And what that enables us to do is that I can send it to him and then he can forward it to him, but nobody can take the coins yet. It's still locked until he reveals his secret. And when he does that, it unlocks the coins for him, and then the very nature of him redeeming those coins gives me the secret so that I can unlock the transaction on my side. And so you set it up from me to him, and then it cascades back from him to me to unlock the coins, and you've made a transaction through multiple parties. Just like TCP/IP routes through servers, Lightning routes through Bitcoin addresses. It routes through channel connections with other people on the network. But in doing this, obviously, you have a way to make payments where there's no permanent record. They're onion routed, like the Tor network, which just means that they're encrypted. He actually does not know, even if I'm paying him directly, he doesn't really know which node mine is. It's pretty interesting. The only thing that he knows is the hop that is closest to him. But where I'm coming from is actually not known. And he doesn't even know if I'm the first hop or if he's the last hop. This could have actually bounced another 5 times before it got to me and another 3 after it got to him. All we are concerned about is the channels that we have. I take it in from my left hand and I send it out to my right. And whoever's hash is involved is the owner of those coins. And nobody can take it without that person getting them. So, let's see, get to the next thing. All right, so a lot of people talk about, this is a question I got, a couple people sent me this DM of, how do I know Lightning is secure? Like I feel like, and if I have a Lightning wallet, I get scared, I don't know where my coins are, can somebody steal them from me, et cetera, et cetera. So how is it secure? How do I know that BTC, Bitcoin that I have on the Lightning network is in fact mine and nobody else's? And there's a lot of FUD out there. Crypto people in particular will tell you that Lightning is an IOU and it's like fractional reserve and all this shit, which is ridiculous. All you have to do is know how it works, and all this stuff is obviously not true. But the main pieces of the puzzle, without getting into like hardcore specifics, let's say you wanted to call it an IOU, the setup is a 2 of 2 multi-sig. So whenever anybody has a channel or whatever, it can only be updated with both of us. Like any change or alteration or agreement that happens within our channel is explicitly at my agreement, is explicitly with my signature. That is the only time that it is valid. So if I set up, if somehow Lightning ever got fractional reserve, it would be your fault. Like it would be because you signed to receive coins that weren't there. But you obviously have to modify the protocol. It's like all this shit. Like Lightning just isn't that. It wouldn't be Lightning anymore. 2 is proof of reserves. Because it's a multi-sig address, you obviously can't sign a valid transaction with coins that don't exist. So any update necessarily has proof of reserves, or the signature just doesn't work. 3, you have a signed exit clause. One of the branches in this little script is that both parties, I have to sign, like, for instance, with my channel with this guy right here, I have to sign, in order for him to trust me to set up this arrangement, I actually have to sign the clause that says he can leave whenever he needs to. And then he has to sign mine, because I don't trust him either. We don't know each other. I mean, he looks like a cool dude, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he's a jackass. So we have to sign each other's exit clause so that we will trust each other. And then 4, we also sign a punishment clause. I sign he signs my punishment clause of him, and I sign the punishment clause for, he signs the one for me, excuse me. So again, because we don't trust each other, I have to know that when we update this channel, when we make these payments, that he is agreeing to accept a punishment if he tries to cheat me. And then lastly, there is a time lock. So there's technically 3 branches in this script. And the time lock is the time allowed for if both parties do not sign an update. The time lock is the time that you are allowed to go to Bitcoin to contest what was published. So let's say he does try to cheat me, and I've got a time lock of a week. If he tries to cheat me, it necessarily means I didn't sign it, right? Is that it's an agreement or an update to the channel that is outdated, and thus it is not one that he has my signature on, or that he does not have a full redemption value for yet, because I obviously don't want him to use that one. So he has to wait a week. That's his exit clause. He has to wait a whole week. And during that week, all I have to do is drop the punishment clause anywhere on the network, and he already signed that for me. And that means I get every bit of his coins in our channel. That's why it's secure, because it costs a hell of a lot to cheat. Not unlike proof of work. If you try to cheat, you're going to just expend an enormous amount of resources and not succeed. So that's why you'll hear this, the idea that you have to be online in order to use the Lightning Network, or you have to be online often, or there is a risk. That's because of that time lock. This is essentially, Bitcoin operates as an ownership court for a Lightning contract in this scenario. So you have to be online to see that this guy has not tried to cheat you out of any funds during that time lock. It's essentially like, Bitcoin is calling to court and says, okay, somebody challenge this. You have a week to challenge it to prove that you are, in fact, the rightful owner of these coins. And if you don't, it's like not showing up for court after a judgment is made on you. Like, okay, well, they win by default. So all you have to do is make sure that you are online within that week. And you not only, excuse me, not only are you obviously able to redeem your coins, but you're actually able to punish the other party for even attempting this. So that is why you know it is yours, because every time you update, it is a very, very risky thing for the other party to do anything but be perfectly honest. So this is just an image of the Lightning Network. It's a visualizer, and to think about, I love this imagery. It's just such a fascinating way to look at it, because like all these are nodes and all the threads are different channels. So when you're broadcasting on the network, when you're sending payments, it can just bounce around this crazy spiderweb shit to find its destination. And each one of these threads has a certain amount of capacity, not unlike how on the internet, if you have a dial-up connection to your internet service provider, and then they have a fiber connection to Google in Cupertino, that you're still limited by your dial-up connection, right? So you can't have a fiber connection just because somebody in your route does. You're limited by your lowest bandwidth. It's a weakest link issue. This is actually an issue that the Lightning Network has as well, is that the smallest balanced channel along some route through a lot of people is the one that maximizes, or that gives you the maximum payment that you can send, with the one caveat that there are amps and atomic multipath payments and these other techniques that actually allow you to break up the payment into a lot of different pieces. Though in my experience, they don't work yet as often. Like a lot of clients, I think, potentially, just don't support it yet, and same with certain wallets. So, and it becomes like a kind of a headache of a routing issue. But as those kinks get worked out, much like a lot of the earlier Lightning kinks have been worked out, that is going to be an incredibly powerful tool. It's like having a cargo ship with just an enormous amount of capital and resources on it, but it can't go through like a really small river. But what it can actually do is, imagine you could break it up into 100 tiny ships, each with one one container on it, and then it goes down a bunch of these tributaries and streams before it comes back together at the other end, and it builds back the entire cargo ship with all of the resources. You can effectively do that in the Lightning Network. And I've done a handful of transactions where I've just like looked into the details, and I'll have that where it actually splits up into 2 or 3 different payments in order to find its destination. It just like typically takes like, I don't know, 15 or 20 seconds when I end up in that situation. But it's gonna be kind of fascinating to watch that play out as the kinks are worked out there. So going back to why do I know it's secure? People talk about like, Lightning can be censored because you're routing through another node and all this stuff. Well, I know let's use an extreme example. Let's say during this trucker convoy situation, I had a channel directly with the Canadian government, and I wanted to donate to the trucker convoy. Well, if this is a censorship network, if this is a custodial situation, well, then this could be a problem, right? Clearly, the Canadian government in this situation is the last person I want to have a channel with. So what can they do? It's a multi-sig address with 2 of 2. So they can't do anything without my explicit signature to update or make a payment. They can refuse to forward or route a payment for me. So if I want to send it to the trucker convoy and they recognize somehow that this is going to the trucker convoy, then they can be like, no, I'm not doing this. These are terrorists, honking terrorists, and they're not allowed to have money. Can they freeze my channels? No. They can technically freeze any payment that I make in the channel I have with them, like I just said, but those are not my funds frozen. That is my channel preventing from making a Lightning transaction specifically. Bitcoin is entirely untouched by this, and a Lightning channel can turn back into a Bitcoin transaction as easily as it can be a Lightning payment. It's arbitrary. You just need a different button in the app. And if they try to broadcast an old state, if they try to steal my coins from me, well then they're going to be screwed. I'm going to get their coins. And actually, I would really hope that the Canadian government would try to do this, because then I would get whatever Bitcoin they had in the channel, and then I could actually say I made the Canadian government donate to the trucker convoy, because I would just take their coins and then I would donate it to the trucker convoy and thank Trudeau on Twitter for his generous donation. So I would not call that, I don't see how that relationship is an IOU, is custodial, or anything of the sort. And all I have to do, if Canada pulls out all the stops and says, no, you're not going to use any of you're not going to donate to the truckers, we're going to freeze the channel, we're not going to route any payments, all I have to do is broadcast a Bitcoin transaction and leave. All I have to do is be like, well, then this is a really shitey relationship. I'm not going to play along anymore. It was stupid of me to open up a channel with the Canadian government in the first place. I don't know why you would do that. All right. So, but we think about this like a payment network. Talking about like the threads on that imagery before, and how we're routing things. Roy Scheinfeld of Roy Scheinfeld of the Breeze wallet, right there in the middle, wrote an article recently that I thought was a really great way to conceptualize it. That I hadn't, I'd kind of touched on it a lot, but it hadn't kind of cemented in my mind. Is that the Lightning Network is not really a payment network. Its purpose is payments. The reason it exists is to facilitate payments. But what it is a liquidity network. It is a place it is a network for allocating Bitcoin with certain peers, with certain services, with certain users on the network in order to fuel payments on top of it. But the real problem, the real crux of what Lightning is where do we put liquidity? When do we move liquidity that has been stagnant? Predicting who is going to need liquidity. Let's say a new service or pops up on the network and suddenly they have a lot of active users and like there's a shit ton of people want to buy their new product or whatever it is, or just a new feature comes out for an app that's been around for a long time and there's this flood. It's like, you have some ridiculous article on some random website that drops some data point or just does some outrage bullshit. They get DDoSed, quote unquote, right? And the website goes down because it's just some random blog that suddenly has 1 million viewers. This is kind of the same situation with liquidity in the Lightning Network. So how do we know where it's going to be, and how do we quickly allocate new capital to them if we do find ourselves in that situation? That is the task of Lightning. That is the task of the Lightning managers, the Lightning node managers. That's the task of Lightning service providers. And that is where this is another idea that I actually think Breeze kind of pioneered this terminology of Lightning service provider. And it's nodes that specifically focus on channel management and allocating liquidity on the fly for users and other services so that you can connect to them from something like a mobile wallet. And even though it's non-custodial, like they can actually manage and make sure that you always have payments that you can receive and payments that you can send without having to deal with knowing about channels, without having to balance them one way or the other, and making sure that you have that bandwidth available. And these are popping up a lot. These Lightning service providers are kind of becoming like the thing, and I expect this to continue a lot. I expect this to be a pretty vibrant market in the coming years. But the Breeze service is one of those. Bit refill channel service. They do like Thor, I think is the name of it, where you can actually purchase channels with a certain amount of liquidity for some number of sats, and they'll have it open for some span of time. Voltage, I think there's a voltage thing right there on the desk. Async. I think they have a name for theirs. I don't know, but it's the Async company. Moon Wallet has their own LSP. That's also another really great wallet. Lightning Pool is one that's actually somewhere mixed between centralized and decentralized. Like they're running a marketplace to match people who need payment liquidity and people who have payment liquidity, but they're doing it in a non-custodial way. It's really fascinating. It's actually a really clever means of being able to attach Bitcoin and Lightning transactions to essentially arbitrary computation. They have this marketplace that is actually run it's just this completely different piece of software that you as a user can run, and then they run, and you're running the exact same software, and you can actually attach the Bitcoin and Lightning transactions to that, or the agreement to open up a channel with that, so that they're never actually, even though they're the market maker, they're the person who is connecting the buyers and the sellers, they actually never control any of the funds, ever. Everybody always has it's the same time lock trick as the Lightning transaction, as the Lightning channel itself. Everybody has the ability to exit if they don't get the outcome they are expecting on their side. There's like a conflict between the two different pieces of software, which obviously there shouldn't be. So this is actually one of those ways that you can get really fascinating potential for, a smart contract of anything in any language whatsoever in a non-custodial fashion. You attach the output of that software to a hash, to a transaction, or to a third key in a Bitcoin transaction, whatever it is, and you use that same model, that same security model of Lightning, just for some other piece of software. So it's really fast. Like that's one thing that I feel like has not been really utilized yet, and I'm kind of excited to see where that's going to go in the future. And then liquidity ads. That's something by Blockstream, I believe, and I think that's built. I think that's something that I think it's installed on C Lightning, on their Lightning client. But it basically allows you to advertise that you have liquidity for anybody who needs payments, and vice versa, show demand. So my prediction here is that liquidity allocators, Lightning service providers on the network are going to be a really, really big market. And I think we're kind of seeing this. And actually one that I forgot to mention in LSPs is a wallet that I just downloaded like an hour ago because I'd forgotten about it. Blixt wallet, they do a Dunder LSP, which I don't know if that they sell paper too, but so one of the things that I think is going to happen in this market is that people looking to make an interest rate, like a return on their Bitcoin, it's liquidity. Lightning needs liquidity. What they want is funds, and they want payment liquidity. There's going to be a community of people looking to offer up their Bitcoin for a return or managing through something like Lightning Pool, where they do it themselves manually. The custodial options, I would suspect, will pay a higher return, both for the added risk of somebody else actually has your coins, but then also because they're going to be able to, if you're using it with a custodian, they'll probably have better channel aggregation naturally because they're managing all the channels. And so if they think they can make 2% a year or 3% a year on all the liquidity for Lightning payments on remittances, and they connect to Strike and merchant adoption, merchant payment processors, all of this stuff, well, then they'll pass 2% or 1.5% on to the customer or whatever who offers the coins. And then there will be non-custodial marketplaces like Lightning Pool, which will have the benefit of higher security and privacy, and potentially more decentralization, but will likely offer a lower return and require a little bit more management on the user side, whoever's actually taking advantage of it. I intend to actually have my setup more like that, but I just, yeah, okay. I haven't gotten around to really bolster my setup because I mostly just play with apps and test everything out. So here are, I expect LSPs to be a critical part of the Lightning experience because the difference in the usability and the user experience for an app that does have one versus doesn't, the gap is pretty massive. These are my favorite wallets right now that have LSPs. Well, like I said, Blixt, I downloaded like an hour ago, but I read a bunch about it. Breeze, Moon, and Phoenix. Phoenix is run by Async. Moon, I don't know if they have like a name for their LSP or if it's just Moon. And then Breeze, Breeze Technology. And what they allow you to do is open up a mobile wallet. And anybody in here uses one of these 3 or 4? Okay, so a lot of people use these. The great thing about these is that these are totally non-custodial. They actually open up Lightning channels with you on the fly whenever you want to receive a payment. Like I received a payment that was too big the other day, and what they do is they actually just set a fee for opening up a new channel. So it cost me 2,000 sats to receive a, I don't know, like $400, $300 payment or something like that because I didn't quite have the liquidity, but I didn't see any of this stuff happening. Like I can go into the advanced settings and look at my channels, and I do, but there's no reason for me to do that. It entirely works without any channel management or anything. The LSP does that, and all they need is your signature because obviously it's non-custodial. Nothing can happen without your signature. But you connect directly to them, and you can actually connect to anyone else. So Breeze actually has, I'm not 100% sure about Moon or Phoenix because I haven't done it. I just kind of use these for their LSPs. But Breeze lets you connect to any node. So I could just get the public key of Moon, and I could use Breeze Wallet and connect to Moon as my LSP. Or I could do the same thing. I could connect to Async and just use them. So I don't have to use Breeze. I assume that's something that I expect to be common. And on the custodial, the wallets without LSPs, what I really want to see is that that's just kind of a basic part of your setup process. As like a default user, that you have the option of saying, oh, I just want to manually manage it. I want to have my own channels. Or you have a list of popular LSPs with like ratings. Here's Breeze Wallet, here's Moon, here's Async, here's Dunder, here's Voltage. Here's all of these services that I can just buy, and they like advertise like a basic fee or something like that. And you literally have a marketplace of non-custodial financial services that you just select right in your wallet that has no jurisdiction, no censorship, nothing. And if any provider, quote unquote, ever displeases you, all you have to do is withdraw, select a different one, and deposit, and that's it. So, and like I said, the user experience of not having to think about any of it is definitely a better experience. Eclair Wallet, Eclair Mobile, Zap, BTC Pay, which uses LND, and then obviously all of the node implementations where you're running your own wallet. Umbrel, MyNode, the Start9 Embassy, which I think they have some really cool shit that they're going to be announcing soon. And then there are custodial wallets. So these are just services that have channels, and they're giving you a wallet in their service. So it's fully custodial, but it just talks Lightning. These are the easiest things to start with. Think of all of this as hot wallets. That's what all of this is. So adjust how much you are using this for based on how much you are risking with a key that is online, ready to sign all the time. So think of Lightning as a spending wallet. I mean, yeah, that's it. Bitcoin is your savings. You deposit the Lightning to spend. But the custodial wallets, the ones where you're actually using a service, they obviously have the best user experience generally because somebody else is doing all the work for you. And that is Strike, Zebedee, Wallet of Satoshi, Blue Wallet, Cash App now has implemented Lightning, though I think it's just for withdrawals right now, if I'm not mistaken. And then BLW, I think the Bitcoin Beach wallet is a Uncle Jim sort of model where you can host your own and then connect other users to you, but it's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is a custodial wallet. If anybody knows, is that right? Okay. And then services, places that you can use or places that you can go to take advantage of Lightning. You've got LN Pay, Fold. Fold is the one that I probably use more than anything. That's where I get my gift cards. CoinOS is really cool. CoinOS is a online custodial wallet that lets you talk Liquid, Lightning, and Bitcoin. So the first time I used it, just to test it out, I sent $50 in Bitcoin to it, and then withdrew it to my Lightning wallet, and then sent it straight back over Lightning, and then withdrew it to a Liquid wallet, and it just does swaps like automatically, which was really fascinating because in particular to see that develop out. Liquid is a side chain for Bitcoin, so it's like a federated model where you have like 23 signatories or whatever. Different than Lightning, but you can actually run Lightning on top of it. So that's actually going back to that original thing where I talked about what layer Lightning was, is Lightning is also kind of potentially layer 3. It's layer 2 and 3 of this because Lightning can work on top of anything. It's just kind of a generic protocol for how to do transactions or how to establish ownership. So you can have Lightning channels that are on Liquid. I could technically have a Lightning payment that went over 2 Bitcoin channels, 2 Liquid channels, and then back to a Bitcoin channel to pay for somebody. And then there's also a really cool proposal. I don't think there is an implementation of it yet called channel factories, which, like we established at the beginning, channels are 2 of 2. It's just me and one other person. Channel factories are like a 5 of 5 or a 10 of 10, where let's say Breeze, Moon, Phoenix, and Dunder all decide, and Voltage, they all decide, well, this would be a whole lot better if we had a joint arrangement and we pooled all of our liquidity and we could open and close channels within a 5 of 5. So not like normal Lightning payments are off-chain, but the channel is on-chain. This would make the Lightning payment the layer 3. Channel factories are a pool of channels that can open and close on the fly without having to go on-chain, because on-chain is a 5 of 5 with the entire group. And any single LSP, if anything goes wrong or they go offline or something like that, they can, again, unilaterally withdraw. They still have their exit clause, punishment clause, et cetera, et cetera. So it's the same arrangement. There's just 5 nodes that need to be online instead of 2. So that's how. Why does this thing just keep walking forward? Okay, we'll hang it here for a second. Now, we've got. Okay, yeah, good. We still got some time. Gonna try to play a little bit of lightning here. Oof. All right. First off, who has fold? I'll start with something like that. You're close. You want a Uber gift card? All right. Set up a $25 Uber gift card, sir? Do the small amount? All right. Like I said, I play around with a lot of these wallets. And I just set up Blixt wallet just so you can kind of get a feel for what it's like to have a wallet that you start from scratch. So all I did was say, create a new wallet, and exit full screen. My BTC Pay server is about to get cut off unless I pay them. All right. So is this one fresh? That's on. Yeah, okay, that's not having my keynote problem. All right, cool. So, here we go. Why don't you come up? So here are a bunch of different wallets here. Like I said, Phoenix, and then we'll do Phoenix for this one.
Sure. This Fold?
Yeah, Fold. Go to Shop. Actually, hold on a second. Let me open up Fold just so you can kind of see. All right. So you go to Shop, and we're going down to, let me go to my favorites. This will be quicker. So those are all different gift cards and stuff that you can buy. So I'm going down to Uber, and then selecting 25, and I can pay with any one of my debit cards or the Fold card, and I get different sats back for each one that I do, but we're going to select Pay with Lightning. So hit Pay with Lightning. And then here, tap that. And now hit Buy Card. And this is the universal language of. There we go.
There we go.
The universal language of Lightning is the invoice. Whereas when you're sending anybody Bitcoin, you're sending it to an address. Lightning has an invoice with an explicit amount. Well, you can actually technically have a custom amount. And then pay, and it's going to look for a route, and he's going to get 1.5% sats back. And this is sent, and it's got my, memo and details and everything, and I can look at where the payment went. I got the payment hash and all this stuff if I want to get real geeky about it. I hadn't used Phoenix in a while, but and then there's freeze. We got it. Got 918 sats back. Yeah. All right, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
Another great wallet is Clap. He got a Uber gift card. Come on, guys. I spend way too much on Uber when I'm traveling. So Zap, like I said, up in the top middle there, that's a non-custodial. You can have it. It's actually. It's one that I actually use a whole lot, even though it's technically not. I think they're trying to switch over to Zeus here in the top right. But Zap is no longer maintained, but I still use it a lot. So I don't know if that's safe or not. I'm gonna disconnect this. This one shows you. So this is actually, you'll see my passcode if I, all right, so this is my BTC Pay server. So Lunanode, the thing that is threatening to turn off my cloud server right now, that is what this is running on. So this is the one that I actually have like channels on, and I manage a little bit when I actually have some time. And it's what I connect my website to and all of this stuff. But I also have it just right here in my mobile. And if I want to send $1, this is Strike, by the way. Strike is one of the custodial services. This one is a wonderful service because it connects you to finance. It's basically Cash App, what Cash App ought to be. It is fully integrated with Bitcoin and Lightning and a lot of the different Lightning features, and like I think they even support LNURL and stuff. But Strike is a way that I can quickly, very quickly, charge $100 from my debit card, and then suddenly it's in, like you see the, oh, whoops. Suddenly you see the balance up at the top. That's stuff that I've pulled straight from my debit card, and now it's on this app, and then I can just pay to, let's see how, oh, son of a bitch. All right, I'm gonna use a different one so I don't have to punch in my PIN code. Let's just go right back to Phoenix. I'm going to punch in, I don't know what, we're just gonna do $1. Strike. And I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna go right back over to Strike and hit pay. And I just paste in my invoice. It looks for a route, says okay, and I got another $1. So I just turned $1 in dollars to $1 in sats by sending it to my Lightning app. Clap, 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 clap. Yeah. Oh my God, it still worked. And like I said, Breeze. So let's do one where we're actually setting it up from scratch. So this is a this is a Lightning wallet that I have not put anything on. All I did was say create a wallet, and here I am. This is the one that works with Dunder LSP, and so I can actually receive Bitcoin to this wallet, and it automatically opens a channel on my behalf and then pushes the Bitcoin over the channel rather than receiving it as a Bitcoin address. I receive it as a connection into Lightning. And Dunder, the LSP in question, does this for me. So I'm going to copy this address. I'm going to go back to Strike, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to do $80 this time. And this is also another interesting thing. So when I talk about how you need to have liquidity to receive on Lightning, obviously an LSP is going to do this for me, but if you have a wallet that doesn't have an LSP, one of the fun things to do that I do to get quick liquidity, like if somebody's going to send me a payment, I'm not sure if I have it, is I'll open up I'll have a big channel opened up and then immediately push it to a custodial service. I'll immediately push it to Strike or Blue Wallet or one of my other wallets, and then suddenly in that channel, I can now receive everything that I just pushed to the custodial service. So a custodial wallet like Blue Wallet is, or Wallet of Satoshi, is good to have on hand because you can use it to quickly move, Lightning, quickly move a balance to another location if you're actually actively managing your channels. But obviously you don't have to do that with the one that I'm showing right now. All right, so that one cost me 13 cents because that one went on chain. Let's see how quick this updates. I am on Wi-Fi. It usually takes about, so Breeze is one of the use. Breeze, Moon, and Phoenix all use what are referred to as turbo channels, which means they open up the channel and push you the funds instantly, and you can go ahead and start using it without even having to wait for a confirmation. Some of them actually wait for a confirmation, and I may have just found one that waits for a confirmation, which means that this is kind of going to defeat the purpose. But, oh man, why does this keep going to sleep on me? I got an active video. There we go. Okay, so this one hasn't. This one's not going to show up until I get a confirmation on chain. Well, Breeze or Moon or anything like that do not wait. So who's got a wallet to set up? I'm going to send somebody else some coins. I'll send you $2. Who's got Moon Wallet? You don't raise your hand. All right, you, come on up. Where do I send it from here? Do I have anything in Wallet of Satoshi? Yeah, I didn't use these guys in Wallet. Let's do this one. So Wallet of Satoshi is another custodial. All right, so he's hitting receive, and you're going to hit lightning, and then punch in an amount. Configure. Okay. Yeah. Do 5,000 sats. Hit the little down arrow right there to turn it to delete. No. We're in US dollars, so we'll just do 2 US dollars. All right, now confirm. Yes. Okay. I haven't used this since I got my new phone, apparently. All right, 4,900 sats, and I just sent it from a custodial wallet of Satoshi to his Moon wallet. And his Moon wallet is non-custodial. So this is kind of the beauty of Lightning is that, awesome, yeah, is that you can, everything speaks the same language. You know, this is the magical thing about this is that when you're using previously before they had Lightning, when you're using Cash App or Square or Venmo or any of these other services, they don't speak a common language. They're all closed networks. So you specifically have to use Cash App or Square or Venmo to pay to someone who is using those services. I can't send from Cash App to somebody else's Venmo. They're all closed permissioned networks. And you'll obviously you have to KYC to participate. But there is absolutely no distinction on Lightning. Everything just uses a Lightning invoice. You can do whatever you want. You can use any service you want. He can use a custodial one. I could use a non-custodial one. You can use one with an LSP. I can use one where I'm managing my own channels. And they all speak the same language. And it also doesn't matter which country you're in or which sanction you're on the other side of. It is completely arbitrary. And the ability to do that and to have merchant payments and remittances and peer-to-peer payments all be on the exact same network using the exact same standard rather than a whole bunch of different closed networks that all use their own standard and can't intercommunicate and all use a completely different back end for the financial system. All of these barriers are going to slowly fall away. And I think we're going to see this thing like we've seen with Cash App, with Strike, is that all of these apps are going to slowly begin to speak Lightning and Bitcoin. And all of these barriers are going to fall away. Suddenly you will be able to send from Venmo to Cash App. In fact, technically you can because both of them support Bitcoin right now, though I don't know if you can withdraw off of Venmo. PayPal's that way. They don't want you to own anything. But as they integrate, suddenly everything just uses the same format and they all speak the same language. And all they need to know is, all right, which format do you want this invoice in? Now, one last thing that I find really, really fun, and I'm super excited to see what actually comes of this in the future, because this is something that is very underutilized. Oh wait, I need to put this next to my thing, is logging in. Everybody hates usernames and passwords, right? Of course you do. Well, you can now sign in with a wallet, and that's your establishment to a wallet, to a website. And so I say this is BitcoinAudible.com. The website's a bit out of date or whatever, but I hired a guy to build this tool for me, GuySlide. And you notice it says login and sign up. That's because the process is the same. You don't have an account with a username and a password and like registration or whatever. So this is a special invoice. And if I just go over to my Breeze wallet, do you want to log in to BitcoinAudible.com? Yes. And I'm logged into Bitcoin Audible as my user. This is actually how I log in now. I've made this my admin account so that I can edit the website and do whatever, which I never keep up with. But like that's it. And if I was a new user, I would do the exact same thing. And then I can go to, what is it, stacker.news? This is kind of like y'all's or whatever. Like it's just kind of no noise, just straight like posts or whatever. And you can, it's kind of a fun graphic. You can boost sats or whatever, but you log in. I'm going to log in with Lightning. I'm going to copy. Do you want to log in Stacker News? And now I'm logged in to Stacker News. And I am the guy Swann up at the top. And like the more and more services that use this, they become, you know, like one of the biggest problems with usernames and passwords is you got to have a random username with random password with every damn service you use. Well, in this situation, I don't have a password with any service. I have a seed. I have a seed and a signature. And so not only does that obviously make the user experience 100 times easier for me, to the point that I kind of get annoyed when I have a Lightning service that doesn't let me do this because this is the only thing I want to do anymore. Not only that, but they are no longer a honeypot. They're no longer a security breach for me. If Google gets hacked and I've reused the password, or if I have a password builder where I reuse a section of it or something, I'm suddenly at risk for them getting hacked. All of my other accounts are now like, well, shit. When did I use that password? How many did I use it on? How many things do I have to go in and do password reset? Please send me an email. Click, click, click. Like, Jesus Christ, it could take me hours to do that. I have thousands of services. And not only that, it makes Google really valuable to hack. Imagine if this was the way we were all logging in. We're taking advantage of a public-private key that we have in a wallet that's just readily available. You can hack Google and not a single one of their users is at risk from a username password perspective. Obviously, Google collects a lot of other information. But and there's a number of different services and tools that use this. Like I said, Stacker News, LN Markets is a great one. And I highly, highly encourage you guys to explore, play around with these wallets. I'll have a list of all of these available. And if you want to, obviously you can follow me and ask me any questions. I usually have my DMs open on Twitter, so anybody can just shoot me a message. I'll be a little bit slower on the Bitcoin Audible, but I answer questions over there too. But I think Lightning is going to be an incredibly powerful tool in so many different ways. I think there's going to be markets built on top of this. I think it's going to explode. We've seen an incredible growth this past year with El Salvador adopting it as a payment mechanism for the whole freaking country. And I think these next 2 years are going to be crazy, especially as we sort out the LSP model and really understand this thing as a liquidity network that enables payments, and the user experience becomes just like we saw, and all of the little hiccups go away. I think not having a Lightning wallet might hurt you more than having one. Yeah, that's my Lightning presentation, and that's why I think it's the future.